questions. We'll start with Ben, and we'll go to Troy after that.
Chase, you didn't play in the NCAA tournament last year, so what does this year mean to you? And any early thoughts on a potential matchup with your old school and the school regional? Or I guess what was the first thing that came to your mind when you did see that?
To go back to your first question, yeah, it means a lot to me just because we're able to compete more and be able to see this team do what they do for as long as we possibly can. But being able to possibly face Georgia Southern again would be awesome for me, just so I can give it to those guys one more time. It's really good for those guys because they played really well towards the middle end of the season and they really deserve it. So it's really good to see them have that regional at Statesboro.
Jason, I know there have been a few balls this year where you didn't think they were getting out of this park and they ended up getting out. But do you think that there was a benefit to you kind of having so many innings in this ballpark and what looks like it's going to be an offensive-filled weekend?
Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously the ball flies here at Lindsey Nelson, but to have those innings, like you say, it can be really advantageous for us pitchers, just so that we know how to pitch to people and where to throw to them, so they don't get it elevated where the wind can take it out, or it can get elevated and just fly out just because of how it is. And it's going to be hot too, so the balls are going to be jumping a little bit more. So it can be really advantageous to us pitchers that we know how to pitch and know what the environment will be like in Lindsey Nelson.
Your start is going to be against one of those teams that's hit a lot of home runs. How do you as a pitcher just kind of stick with your controllables and not let that kind of get in?
It just goes back to just doing what you do every outing, just throw strikes. Obviously they're going to put a couple barrels on it, and if they do, oh well, tip your hat and keep going. That's something that I've worked a lot on while I'm here, and it's something I kind of struggled with when I was at Georgia Southern, and just kind of that stuff kind of getting to me. But now that I've matured more than I have in probably the last 10 years just being here, it really doesn't bother me as much, just because I know that they got me once, but I'm gonna see them again, so I'm gonna get them that time. And that's just kind of how I think about it and how I prepare.
How has that maturation happened here, and how has Frank helped you in that?
So I'd have to go back to probably my visit, just because I had a really good talk with Coach A, and I had a really good talk with Coach Q, who was the strength coach at the time. But throughout the fall, he just really told me, like, you're going to be one of our guys, so we need you to mature up a little bit and handle and not show the body language and stuff like that. I had a little bit of a problem doing that at Georgia Southern, but he's really helped me figure out who I am and figure out who I am as a pitcher, and that's really helped me lead to my success over the year.
Chase, there are guys on this team that have been at this stage of the postseason before, and then there are guys who this is their first time there. Just what are the conversations like among the team, and kind of what's the advice that some of those guys that have been here before are giving to guys that haven't?
Yeah, obviously this is going to be going around the locker room that we're in the regional and we have good teams coming to us. In this time of year, no team is going to be bad. It's just how it is. But throughout the locker room, we've just been kind of talking about, stick to our game, and if we stick to that, we'll be good. We're playing some really good baseball right now. I've obviously said that we're still not playing our best. There's always things you can work on and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just kind of sticking to our game, and if we do that, we'll be just fine.
You worked on back-to-back Thursdays, and you got a little bit of additional break to pitch on a Friday. This week it will be a Saturday. What is your weekly routine like, and do you appreciate an opportunity to get an extra day to prepare?
Yeah, so my weekly routine just kind of remains the same. It may change a little bit depending on how much I throw on a certain day or something like that, but it doesn't really change that much. But I think it's kind of a blessing to have an extra day, just so you're that much more fresh as you go into the next outing. It's going to help me maybe with my velo a little bit. Maybe I can go deeper into a game. But yeah, I feel like it helps a lot of pitchers in different ways. But for me, it helps me just with confidence and knowing that I'll be fresh, ready to go for that start.
We'll go west and Rick in the back.
Chase, I guess how grateful are you that the transfer portal exists in a way, because it just looks like it's completely changed a lot of things for you. And what's your message to guys who are thinking about going through that, and guys who maybe think about transferring to Tennessee?
Yeah, the transfer portal was a blessing for me in disguise, for sure. I went into it not knowing what was going to happen. and it's probably been one of the biggest blessings of my entire life, to be honest with you. My message to those guys would be take the chance. You know, you never know until you do it, so that's just something you have to do. And if you're looking to come to Tennessee, it's one of the best places you'll ever be, just because of the coaches here. They all love you. They're all going to put their effort and time into you. They're going to develop you the way you need to be developed. And I mean, that's all I could really ask for when I came here. And the players here also kind of took me under their wing and just helped me, show me the ropes around campus and around the facility and stuff, and kind of show me what the SEC would be like.
Rick?
AJ's back here. Congratulations, first team.
Thank you.
What does that mean for you and for the other guys who are honored? What does it mean for the program to get that kind of recognition?
I think it's awesome, to be honest with you. You know, obviously Trey, I feel like Trey and Gilby probably should have both got first team, but that, you know, that's out of our control. But for the program, I think it's great. Just it shows how well we are developing guys. You know, obviously we're not really looking too much into that, just because that's not what we're focused on. We don't really focus on personal accolades. We kind of focus on what the team has and what we are going to get as we go into the future. You know, our focus is on Friday, like Evan said, and just trying to keep going until we get to Omaha and win the thing.
O'Bannon and Joseph.
Chase, winning SEC Pitcher of the Year, just how much did that mean to you, and what do you think the biggest hurdle or biggest adversity you had to overcome that helped you win that award?
It means a good bit to me, to be honest with you. I try and hide it as much as possible, just because I don't want people to think, you know, he's cocky, he won Pitcher of the Year or whatever. But you know, like I said, we're not really focused on personal accolades. It's more about what the team has and what the team's going to get. But can you ask that second question again? Sorry.
Just the biggest adversity you had to
Right.
overcome.
So my biggest adversity would probably be just facing SEC hitters. You know, they're a lot better than what I was facing at maybe Georgia Southern. Obviously, I faced Tennessee's lineup last year. But just going into that, just having that mentality of that Coach A helped me get, just having that mentality of, you know, here it is, you can hit it. I mean, this kind of a mentality I've adopted has really helped me thrive as a pitcher here.
I don't know if you watched any of Blaine last year, but this year through his injury, you know, through the fall, and to now where he's getting the ball on Friday night, just where have you seen him progress, and what makes him that opening guy starter?
So I watched a little bit of Blade last year, and I could definitely see that he has talent. I didn't know how hard he worked and what he did during his off time, but seeing him this year in the locker room dealing with his injury, he's obviously had to go through a lot of adversity, like Evan said, with that injury, but he's kind of switched gears in a way, just so that way he's ready for each and every start and each and every outing that he's going to get. And that's something that not a lot of pitchers do. They kind of just kind of wing it, but he has a set plan. He has a set routine that he does. He has a set arm care that he does, and that's just something awesome to see a young guy like him do. And it's a testament to where he's going to go in the future, in my opinion.
We'll finish with Jake.
Guys have talked about the difference between Drew on and off the field. I'm curious, what was it like last year for you watching him kind of talk trash around the bases versus spend time with him this year?
I always tell people that he's one of those guys you never want to face, but when you're on his team, you love him. Like I've said multiple times, the guy in the locker room is one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He hypes you up, he brings you up, and then you have the Drew Gilbert in between the lines, who's a competitor, and he's ruthless, and he'll do anything he can for his team to win, and it's awesome.
How much better do you like him now that you know what the rest of us
I love him. I love Gilby so much. Having him in the field especially is awesome, just because you know he's going to give you everything he has to be able to make plays and be able to hit too.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, guys.